Hi, Misty. This video is a quick one to give you an idea of where to start with your project. And I would probably start in the mass model, so create a conceptual mass, and then I would create these 4 reference planes. So hold your shift key and your control key down, and then hold your left mouse button down on one of the existing reference planes so that you can drag it over to copy it, and then select it so that you can change the dimensions. I made a 100 by 100 foot module, but this is your project, so you can work with it if you like. And then I'd use that same concept to hold the shift key and the control key down, and then hold your left mouse button down on the and drag the reference plane up to create several horizontal reference planes. And later on, these help to draw on them or snap to them, although I think I could have drawn them without. But in any case, I decided to think out how many feet each section would be in kind of a rough module. So let's think that maybe the bottom one is 100 feet high, and then the second one might be 20 feet, and maybe that third one is 80 and then back to 40. So I just kind of looked at it and designed it the dimension that I thought the photo looked like in creating all of these reference planes to work with. So you can highlight that rectangle and pick create form to create the first bottom part. And then as you pull your mouse up, you'll see that it hits that next reference plane. So you have an idea of when to stop. It kind of highlights it. Now you might do this a little differently, because when I look back on the photo I saw some other detail, but the concept for this one might be to draw thin rectangles on the face of the other surface. So this top face here is going to be highlighted first, and then pick the corner and draw your rectangle. So I need to zoom up closer. I don't have a mouse at this point, so I actually go get the mouse because it's much easier to work with. But it gave me an error that the elements were too small, so I needed to get closer in order for it to read those. And here I started the rectangle tool, and then make sure that that top face is highlighted first before you click in the corner. It's very similar to AutoCAD. And then you can select here the rectangle and use create form to create that new wall. And so then orbiting around to the other side, I can draw another rectangle on the back side and then use here create form to create another kind of slab for your design. It's sort of like press pull. My favorite tools in AutoCAD for 3D modeling would be the press pull, and the concept of drawing right on the face or the surface of a model like we are here. Several programs have borrowed from others the concepts and kind of changed their names. So I notice here that I went a little too far because I need to bring that back slab up. So I'm going to make it smaller and then draw another rectangle. So you'll see as you watch this that it's kind of a building process of smaller, thinner rectangles to create the solid forms out of it. So you may have been able to draw this without the reference planes if you concentrated on the dimensions themselves. I'm going to take the voice recording off for about 5 minutes and let you watch this, and then I'll come back. We don't need to include a lot of detail because um, this is for the conceptual math, and we'll load it into the project, and some of the details could be added later. So what I did here though is I did add these really small columns, and this is all approximate for the measurements. And so just drew a circle and then selected the circle and actually copied it here 3 or 4 times based on the photo. And then I selected the circle in create form so that I can create here a column that goes up to the next level. So now you can create a project and then save this one and load it into that project. And once you load it, you'll be able to work with the materials a little bit. So here I'll pick load into project, and I already had here a 3D view set up. The only thing that it's going to warn you is that the spaces are not of volume, so you won't be able to compute the volume or the mass floors, but we don't need to do that, so you can kind of ignore that. And now we're ready to place the wall system. When you create a mass model and you bring it into the project, you have to decide on whether you want to maintain it as being conceptual or turn it into more of a document with actual walls and surfaces. So in this example, when I turn the mass off, you'll see that only these walls that I applied by faces are in the project. But if it's conceptual, then you can use tools like the paint here tool to paint the surfaces with your material. So I created a material called my brown wall and my green wall, but to access those and edit those, I'm going to go into the Manage tab. So in the Modify tab, you'll find the paint, and under paint, there's the removing the paint too. And by doing that, you can paint the surfaces, if you'd like, with whatever material. And so now in the Manage tab, I can go to Materials, and here, just to revisit the graphics tab will show you how it's going to appear under shading, and the appearance tab is more of the realistic view and for rendering. So if I just wanted to create something that was more graphic, I could use shading or shaded, and then that way I'm going back to that graphics tab or realistic. And another reminder is that when I'm in the material browser, which we were able to access through creating walls and other elements, you can right click to duplicate one of the existing materials and change the name of it and pick up what graphics display that you'd like for the shading. And then at the bottom here, you can pick this asset browser. Assets are like the materials. And if I change it to thumbnail, here I can see all of the different materials. And just for this one that I highlighted, and specifically in the appearance tab, I can decide on the material that I'd like to use. So as you're developing this project, you can decide which view that you're going to use, shaded or realistic. If you decide to put trees to make it look more like the photo, then you'll need to create here a level that is up at the level that you'd like those trees, so that when you place the trees, there's kind of a level that you can place them on. And you can use here the properties settings to establish trees at that level. So no matter where I put this tree, you see how it stays on that level. And then I can bring it over to where I really need to put it. Okay, then Misty, let me know if you need any more help. If you want to tweak the design in a little way, you can, or you can search through the material to find something that's a little more exact, or even just use this shaded view as kind of a conceptual form. Okay, keep in touch, Misty. Let me know if this helps.